Meanwhile, in the sub-Saharan region, nearly 100 civilians have died and hundreds wounded in ongoing battles between Sudan's regular army and a powerful paramilitary force after long-running bitter brinkmanship spilled into conflict.
Well, at its heart lies two rival generals, Army Chief Abdel Fattah el-Burhan and his deputy, Mohammed Haddam Daglo, commander of the large and heavily armed paramilitary rapid support forces, that's the RSF, formed from members of the Janjaweed militia that led years of violence in Darfur. Well, together they seized power in a 2021 coup.
On Saturday, their jostling for power erupted into violence, both in the capital Khartoum and other cities across Sudan, with deafening explosions, airstrikes, artillery fire, and intense gunfire in densely packed neighborhoods. Each general accused the other of starting the fight, and both have made claims they control key sites which could not be independently verified. Here's what we've learned so far about the rapidly evolving conflict.
Moving on to why the rivalry turned into a conflict, in October 2021, Burhan and Daglo together orchestrated a coup, upending a fragile transition to civilian rule that had been started after the 2019 ouster of longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir. Burhan, a career soldier from northern Sudan who rose the ranks under the three-decade rule of now jailed Bashir, took the top job. Daglo, from Darfur's pastoralist, camel herding Arab Regit people, assumed responsibility as his number two. But it was only ever a marriage of confidence, according to independent researcher and policy analyst Hamid Kilafala. Now, Kilafala added it was never a genuine alliance or partnership. They just had a tie their interests together to face the civilians as a united military front.
Well, why does this part remind me of La Republic's union with the claimed union with that of Ambazonia? Well, the interesting thing is the rift widened with Daglo, commonly known as Hemeti, coming to call the coup a mistake that has failed to bring about change and invigorated remnants of Bashir's regime. As the army and civilian leaders came together to hammer out a deal to end the political crisis that began with the coup, the integration of the RSF into the regular army became a key sticking point. For Alan Boswell, Horn of Africa director at the International Crisis Group, Daglo saw in the agreement an opportunity to become more autonomous from the military and enact very large political ambitions.
Well, according to analyst Kulud Ka, a December framework agreement for the deal ratcheted up tensions between Burhan and Hemeti when it elevated Hemeti's position into Burhan's equal rather than his deputy. Well, Carr, founder of the Khartoum-based Confluence Advisory think tank, said that, in his words, he says that a shift in power is why conversations about security sector reform and integration of the RSF have ended up in armed conflict rather than heated debate around the table.
Well, from findings on the RSF created in 2013, the RSF emerged from the Janjaweed fighters that now jailed Islamist dictator Bashir unleashed against non-Arab ethnic minorities in the western Darfur region a decade earlier, drawing accusations of war crimes. The infamous militiamen were part of a campaign of terror that saw Bashir indicted for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide by the International Criminal Court.
In 2015, the heavily armed militia was deployed alongside regular Sudanese forces in the civil war in Yemen as part of the Saudi-led coalition, which helped boost Daglo's profile abroad. Now, according to experts, the force has also been involved in the conflict in neighboring Libya. The RSF has been accused of more atrocities since, in particular as part of a security crackdown after the ousters of Bashir, when at least 128 people were killed in a violent dispersal of a Khartoum sit-in in June 2019. The RSF has continued to grow stronger since 2019, Boswell added.
An interesting question is what's next? According to Boswell, this is an existential power struggle on both sides, adding that both sides see the conflict as a very zero-sum game. With both generals out for blood, Kerr finds it unlikely they'll come to the negotiating table without one or both of them suffering heavy losses. They'll both continue to make bellicose statements against each other. She told AFP neither of them will come out of this unscathed.
Well, the longer they battle it out in city streets, she said, the higher the civilian toll climbs and the harder it will be for either general to rule over the wreckage. Both sides are strong enough that any war between them will be extremely costly, deadly, and long. Well, this is what Boswell said, who said even with a partial victory for either side in Khartoum, war will continue elsewhere in the country, dividing up Sudan into strongholds.
Boswell also stated that we're already in worst-case scenario territory, and from here the scenarios only get grimmer and grimmer, warning the impact will ripple throughout the region. What else was anyone expecting? Wars never produce a positive outcome. With the war in Ambazonia yet to come to a peaceful consensus of independence for Ambazonia, another war in the sub-Saharan region would not be in anywhere a good thing.